Good job today, man. One at a time, and we'll get the job done. Y'all know what to say. On three. 1, 2, 3.
And the home of the Jets.
Good evening, everybody. The New York Jets won a football game. We have the trade deadline has come and gone. We have election night, which is crazy as well. And I have a funny feeling for the first time in a long time, me and my good friend Ian are going to disagree about pretty much everything. Ian, how you doing, man?
Tyson, what's up, man? How's it going?
I'm doing great. I mean,
good.
Where do you want to start with this? I mean, let's start with the trade deadline first, where we'll go into the game. We'll cover a lot of things, but the trade deadline coming in today, did you say the Jets are going to be buyers? Are they going to be sellers? Are they going to be status quo? And with your answer, what is your reason?
So, yeah, coming into the day, I didn't think the Jets were going to be buyers just because of the position that they're. I mean, if they were 6-2 or, they were above 500, I could have maybe saw something. But because we traded away like solid draft capital for Rodgers, we gave up a future pick for Reddick, gave up a future pick for Adams. Both of those picks are conditional. So it kind of, you can't trade a 2026 second round pick, even though it looks likely that it's going to be the third round pick. You can't trade the second and break those conditions. So essentially you have 4 picks off the board, a second and a third and a second and a third in 2025 and 2026. And also too, with the cap situation, I just didn't see the Jets taking on like a big contract or something. Ideally, I would have
but should they have? Are they in a position right now where they should have been buyers? Like, you know what? We need some pieces here because we're still in the hunt. Or in your world, it's like, you know what? Status quo is fine. Sell, I don't care.
To me, ideally I would have liked another edge rusher, or a safety, but I personally feel like you can go out and sign one of those guys in the free agency market. Ideally, I don't want to be giving away more draft capital. I feel like that's kind of been the name of the game for the Jets, these last couple of seasons. I like building through the draft.
Okay, so you're in the point where you're like, you're not a buyer because you don't have the assets you don't want to take away from next year, and you think you're comfortable, and the moves that can be made can actually help you without being the trade deadline. Quentin Jefferson obviously is one of them. It's a name that became available today. Now, you could be a seller where the Jets did sell one piece. So what were your thoughts on the Mike Williams trade, where I think we all saw this coming? Once you trade for Davante Adams, Mike Williams wasn't getting a lot of targets anyway, seemed to not have really good chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. He probably asked to be traded politely, like, you know what? This is a contract year for me. I'm not getting my numbers. I want to go somewhere else. Were you surprised by it? And what do you think about the value?
Yeah, man. So we were texting a little bit about it before. And honestly, I'm not too pissed, right? I think the big issue for me ended up coming out, I think like an hour or two ago, or three hours ago or something, which was the contract. And, we're going to dive into that. But, the contract, just to be frank, just to be blunt here, it pisses me off. The Jets, I don't know if everybody has seen, but the Jets not only are paying Mike Williams some of his salary this season, but they're also paying him almost $6 million for next year. To me, that makes absolutely no sense. If that was the case, they should have gotten more for Mike Williams. Yep. The whole point in getting rid of a veteran player on a 1-year deal is to, of course, acquire a nice draft pick, but it's also important to clear money in the process. Exactly. Right? What like that? It doesn't make we were in the same exact situation with Davante Adams, where we're acquiring the player, so it's kind of vice versa, but we give up a nice pick, and so the assumption is okay, it should be like a 60-40 split between the Raiders and the Jets. No, report comes out that the Jets are taking the entire Davante Adams deal, and then he ultimately restructures it. So these are 2 instances now where the Jets, from a financial standpoint, when it comes to trades, ironically enough, both wide receivers. I do not like it at all, but I do have some positive points outside of the financials on why it's not like the biggest deal in the world.
Well, the financials annoy me. And then if you're in the world of the Jets still have a chance to make the playoffs, which that's not me by no means, not even close. It's like, why would you trade him to a team that you're competing against for a playoff spot? Like, why is he going to an AFC team that already lost to, and B's ahead of you? So, and when it comes down to it, say the Ravens win the division, which they're probably going to. The Steelers are a team you're fighting for a spot for. You trade him there. He can't go to NFC. Like, wait, it seemed like the financial makes no sense. To the Steelers makes no sense. Maybe that's where he wanted to go, but I don't care about that. But it just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I honestly don't mind.
How are we operating this? I almost cursed already. How are we operating this franchise? Seriously, though, like who? Like, and my first question is, who's making this decision? Is it your lame duck manager, Joe Douglas, or is this actually Woody Johnson doing this?
I don't think it's. If I had to take a guess, I'd probably say Douglas, because if I was Woody, I don't want to be paying Mike Williams if I'm trading him away. If Woody Johnson is cutting the checks, do you think he's going to be happy when Douglas, do you think he's going to be voluntarily signing up for $5.8 million?
Well, Joe Douglas doesn't care. He's not going to be here next year. He's a lame. Like, do you honestly think Joe Douglas gives a rat's ass about $6 million next year? He's not going to be here. He's going to probably be back with wherever else left. Like, look at that contract they're paying right now. You don't care. Like, that's the problem I have. Like, I'm sorry to be clear, but the problem I have with this is who's making the decision? Is it a guy that doesn't care about next year, or the owner it's in over his head? Either way, it's a bad person making a decision, right? Because there's no Woody Johnson doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and Joe Douglas doesn't care. So that to me is already a problem.
Well, I think it's an assumption that Douglas doesn't care.
Okay, but like you just said right now, you don't agree with the financials. If Mike Williams goes to Joe Douglas and says, you know what, man, I want to get out of here. Please trade me. You know, a 5th round pick isn't too bad. Maybe it's the only offer they got. You know what? This is the best offer we can got. You're out of here. Who cares? $6 million next year. Let the next guy deal with it. He's out of here.
Yeah, no, it's totally fair. I mean, that could very well have happened. It makes, it is logical, to suggest that. But at the same time, I don't want to act like Mike Williams is Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. He's setting the league on fire.
He's still a competent wide receiver. You saw DeAndre Hopkins last night get 2 touchdowns. Mike Williams can do a lot of good things in an offense. The Jets didn't know how to properly use him. That's the problem. Right. It's people have funny, like in hindsight, when the Jets got Mike Williams, everybody was excited. He can do this, he can do that, he can do this. Now it's like, oh, he sucks. No, he doesn't suck. The Jets didn't use him correctly and didn't get acclimated. He had no chemistry. That's the problem. That's what it was. And he was hurt when you signed him. Like, there's a lot of things that go into this, right? So to me, the way everybody's talking about this is comical, but I think he's a very productive player that can do good things for a team, and you'll probably see that in Pittsburgh.
I agree. I think, I don't know about you, but I was like pounding on the table asking for a Mike Williams goal line fade. I thought he would have been perfect for that with us. Explosive plays on the field. It just never happened. And again, maybe that's a Mike Williams problem. Maybe that's an Aaron Rodgers problem. Maybe it's a Hackett Downing problem. Whatever it is, whoever's at fault here, maybe it's multiple people at fault. The reality is he's not having success with the Jets. So from that logic, right, even with Lazard out, by the way, it's not like Lazard's out and it's just like, okay, Mike Williams is getting, 8-9 targets a game. It's Lazard's not here. They added Devontae Adams, and he's still not even getting the ball thrown his way. And you factor that in with Aaron Rodgers calling him out after the game. You factor that in with, even Rodgers on McAfee today. I don't know if you saw the quotes, but he didn't sound bothered by it at all. Yeah,
because because he has his best friend on the team. He's got Devontae Adams. The other question I have for you is: right now you have Allen Lazard banged up. God knows when he's coming back. You're one Devontae Adams or Garrett Wilson injury away from. You're like, who the hell are your receivers now?
Yeah, but even if Devontae Adams were to get hurt, I have no faith that the Jets would that would be the light bulb to get Mike Williams the football, because it's not like Devontae Adams was here from the jump.
We're justifying bad behavior then. We're justifying incompetence. Like, you know what? They're not going to use him properly anyway, so might as well just trade him away. That's what we're saying. That's kind of what we're saying. Like, Allen Lazard is hurt. Don't know when he's coming back. Wilson's taking huge hits. Devontae Adams is an older guy, and you're in theory, still in the hunt. So if you're in the hunt and your wide receiver group, even not using him correctly, is still a strength. You've taken away from that strength now because of what? He wanted out and you can't use him correctly? That's why you're doing this trade? Like, what's the reason for doing this trade when you're taking on a financial hit as well?
Well, that second part is kind of the twist that not a lot of people A, saw coming, and B, expected. That to me just completely, because when the news initially broke, my take was the Jets don't know how to use Mike Williams correctly. We don't play to his strengths. Maybe, who know? I don't have any knowledge of this. I don't have any sources or anything, but who knows? Maybe Mike Williams just wasn't picking up the Hackett Downing system. We heard, just throwing it out there as a possibility. We heard Rodgers say he's ran the wrong route in a critical end of game situation, and that's not even including the previous game where he didn't turn around for the football. So I'm just throwing it out there as a possible option, right? This is just I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying this is the world that we're living in. Mike Williams through 9 games. By the way, Mike Williams is not a starter. Through 9 games.
Yeah.
Mike Williams has less yards, less touchdowns, less catches than he did last season in his 3 games with the Chargers.
But I think that's more an indictment on Rodgers, Downing, and Hackett than it is Mike Williams as a player. That's kind of my personal opinion. And now it's like they're just letting him go. Like, oh, you know what? He can go. We're trading him away. Financial hit's stupid. But I'm like, all right, cool. Like, you know what? I don't care. For me, the season's over. I don't care. But like, you're looking at how they're handling the team, and it's just like, look, like you're one injury away from being like Rodgers, be like, oh no, I have no receivers. You just let one go out the building. You just trade him away for, that's what you want and that's what you got. I get it. But now the next question I have for you is they won a game on Thursday, which everybody's happy about, right?
Well, actually, real quick, I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
How do you feel about the compensation, though? I think we agree the financial aspect is just F minus.
Yeah, I mean, the compensation, I thought maybe you can get a little bit more than that, maybe. But to me, what bothered me most is going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just made no sense to me. I'm like, because like if you're trying to act like a team that's still in it, you don't supply a team that you're competing against an asset. It's just foolish to me. It doesn't make any sense. But this is the Jets. This is what they do. That's why I'm wondering who's making these actual decisions. But the question I have for you is, they win a game. They're 3-6, man. That is saying something. Like this is a 3-6 team, which is so great, right? Like this is talking playoffs now. You're going into their trade deadline where that win seems to be a deodorant for how bad they've been in the situation that they're actually in. So when they won that game, did you say, you know what? There's still a glimmer of hope. Or you say, you know what? Let's take it for what it's worth. A good half of football. They beat up a banged up Texans team on a short week. The schedule coming up is very difficult. They're not making the playoffs. I can understand if we want to sell here because you know what? I'm looking towards the future. I'm not worried about the present. What was your mindset like then after the win? Be like, you know what? We still have a chance? Or you're like, no, dude, this win changes nothing.
Well, I think because of the position that the Jets are in, old, win now, pressure, everyone's on a hot seat. Until the Jets are mathematically eliminated, I mean, what else are we going to do? We're just going to.
What's the responsible thing to do?
That depends on who's making the decisions.
That's the
I think
problem.
the responsible thing to do. I mean, again, it's so tough because it's not year 1 or year 2 of Joe Douglas. He's been here since 2019, and we've seen just a myriad of different issues. But I think what's going to happen is that the Jets are going to continue to roll out the same squad and just hope for the best. And like you said, that win against Houston was a great deodorant. There were a ton of mistakes in that game, dude. 2 drops from Devontae Adams. Breece Hall drop, Breece Hall fumble. Luckily, he fell on top of it. We had the roughing the punter, roughing the kicker.
Yep.
2 separate things. It was just hard to watch, man. And thankfully, the Jets, managed to put it together. They faced some adversity and they walked away victorious, which I'm pumped about. And beating Houston is a completely different story. I don't, Diggs, Nico Collins, yeah, I understand that they're hurt. But beating the Texans on a short week is so much more impressive to me than Tennessee and New England early on in the year. Now, I'm not going to...
Did it change your perception of the team, though? Be like, all right, even though they lost 5 in a row, this team has now turned the corner, and I can believe in them at 3-6 that they can stack together some wins. Do you believe that?
No, not really. I think it helps them. I think it maybe gives some belief to what Ulbrich is preaching, and it kind of maybe points to some in-game adjustments. Like, hey, you know what? We actually battled through some adversity, but this upcoming week, this game against the Arizona Cardinals, this is the test. If they come out and they fall flat on their face and it's just a crap game plan and there's delay of games and there's wasted timeouts and the tackling is horrible and they can't stop the run, the Cardinals are a good rushing team, and we lose, we're right back to square one. I want there to be. Go ahead.
But that's my frustration with this. Now, this is going to come off ridiculously negative, and I understand it. I've been getting heat for it since last night. I genuinely don't care. The problem is this: that they played after that first half on Thursday. I was disgusted, dude. I'm like, I've had it with this team. I'm done watching Jet football. They find a way to come back. Garrett Wilson's incredible catch, all this stuff. I'm like, you know what? I still don't. You never get the perception or the feeling that Jets are being a very well coached team playing at maximum level, right? You don't get that feeling.
No.
They just whatever they do. So for me, it's like, you know what? They're still 3-6. I know in my heart they're not going to win 6 more games. They're not winning 7 more games. They're not going to be 9-8. They're not going to be, they're not getting the 10 wins. They're not making the playoffs. So for me going into today, if that whole DJ Reed thing's out there, like, hey man, we're getting calls for Commanders want DJ Reed. Hey man, you throw me a 4th round pick, 5th round pick. I'm probably going to do it because you know what I'm looking towards next year. This year for me is over. And a lot of these guys that nobody wants to trade now are not going to be here next year. And we're going to be in the same spot we were earlier in the offseason where it's like, man, look at all these guys left that we got no compensation for. We had the same argument last trade deadline. Carl Lawson, Dalvin Cook, trade him. No, we got to keep him. We got to keep him for our run. You're 3-6. Chances are, in my world, you're not making that run. So if you can get something for these guys, I would have did it, dude. I honestly would have. But the problem is, it's that Woody Johnson wants to worry about ticket sales and Aaron Rodgers' feelings and the belief that we're still in it at 3-6. Me, it's like who's running the ship here? Because that's really not like it's a tough call. You said like if they win this Sunday, they made the right move. You know what? 4-6, they have a chance. If they lose this Sunday, we're gonna be like, bro, the season's over. We should have traded all these guys, or at least a couple of them, to at least recoup some of our mistakes. That's my frustration that I have.
Right. And so, to go back to the Mike Williams trade, that's why I initially wasn't super heated about it. Again, if we were above 500, if we were neck and neck with the Buffalo Bills to, leading the AFC East or 1 game out, 2 games out, whatever, I'd be a little bit more confused. Or if Mike Williams had better numbers, because it's like, oh man, what the hell are we doing? But in my eyes, Williams is on a 1-year deal.
Yep.
Probably not, 95% not going to re-sign with the team. It seems like there's some weird thing going on with him and Rodgers. He's not getting targeted. They don't know how to use him. Let's just move off him, get a pick. And by the way, a 5th round pick, start naming some good players on the Jets defense. Michael Carter, 5th round pick. DJ Reed, 5th round pick. Not made by the Jets, but still drafted in the 5th round. Jamie Sherwood has looked awesome. 5th round pick, right? So I don't want to look at the 5th round pick and say, oh, that's the equivalent of like what we got for JFM,
right?
A 2026 6th or whatever it was. And then Franklin Myers goes on to take a pay cut with Denver. So I am happy that, again, we got rid of someone who was not going to re-sign. We got some sort of value. My issue again is with the financials, but
I think they feel like they're in no man's land, dude. Like at 3-6, it's true no man's land. They're not officially mathematically eliminated, but they're not in the hunt either. That's the problem for me. And you had to make a decision, and the person making a decision is a lame duck general manager who should have been fired 3 weeks ago. The day you fired Solly, you should have fired Joe Douglas. He's not coming back. We all know that. So now my question for you is, at 3-6, go ahead.
No, I was just going to point out, so NJ Lauren actually brings up a great point here. When you have to tell yourself we're still in it, that is a bad team. Yep. The Bills don't have to say that. The Ravens don't have to say that. The Steelers don't have to. Chiefs, they don't have to do that. So yeah, Lauren, great point. I think you hit the nail right on the head. But what's interesting, I know you're just about to ask me a question, but let me hit you with this real quick.
Good.
When you're thinking about the AFC and this bonus wild card that we've seen for the past couple of years, that's kind of I think, if for me at least, when I'm thinking about the best case realistic scenario for the Jets, it's that last wild card.
Okay. That's our goal. But that, to me, it's not realistic because I guess my problem is this is not a well-coached team. Like, that's what we've seen so far. So the Jets' plan right now is hope. It's not what we know. We're hoping all these things that we've seen over the last 9 weeks are going to change. And I'm not buying it. I'm literally not. One game doesn't change it for me. But unfortunately, the trade deadline was today. So now you got to hope that they turn it around, and the game they historically lose every year will be this game. bye week, coming off a win on the road. They usually get blown out. They don't show up for it. You got to hope they do that. But my question for you is, at 3-6, what's considered a successful season from here on out? Because you got to figure this is how Ulbricht's getting evaluated. This is going to be how Aaron Rodgers gets evaluated. Like, how do you define what success is now at 3-6 to the point where you could bring people back?
No one's getting brought back unless this team goes on a run. Unless we,
if they end the season 8-9.
No one's coming back, dude.
You don't think so?
8 and 9.
But hear me out, because now we weren't sellers in the trade deadline. There's already you can already make a case Davante Adams is probably coming back next year based on his contract, the guaranteed money. If he's coming back, you got to figure Aaron Rodgers probably told him, "I'll do one more year. If you do one more year, they're going to do that." So it's like, what did the Jets have to do to sell us enough wins? But like, you know what, we did enough this year to kind of, you know what, we could bring this back next year, even with a different coach, maybe or maybe not, but that we can justify this plan actually working.
The bar was set in the offseason. Playoffs or everyone's gone.
I agree.
I can't even, like, it's unbelievable that, I mean, we could talk about Joe Douglas's career record, by the way, but from 2019, actually, you know what? Let me start with this. Think about how many teams have a quick turnaround these days in 2024, where you have all these college ready guys where you can literally draft someone in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, and they're instant starters and instant building blocks. Cap is at an all-time high. It goes up every year. Yep. The turnarounds are so fast these days. Look at Washington, man.
Yeah.
You know,
look
Arizona. Houston is another great point. They were picking second, coach, OC, quarterback, boom, they're rolling. The Jets have been in this weird, like, onboarding rebuild thing since 2019. We have not seen a playoff drought aside. We have not seen a winning record, in the entire Joe Douglas era before the pandemic, dude. So we have not even been a 500 football team, and it's excuses every year. I mean, you talk about the excuses every single, I want to say almost after, every single loss, right? Oh, it's cold out. Oh, we played a good team. Oh, they have a good defense. And oh, it was raining. The excuses like never end. Oh, Aaron Rodgers got hurt. We didn't have a backup quarterback. Zach Wilson wasn't it. Hackett wasn't it. Michael LaFleur wasn't it. Whatever it is, there's always an excuse. This was the year where it's like there are no more excuses. You have a healthy Rodgers. You have that backup quarterback. They fired Saleh. They pulled all their levers.
Yep, I agree.
Right. Demoted Hackett, promoted Downing, their guy. They had a chance to bring in an offensive coach. They didn't do that. Trade for Davante Adams. They got Hassan Reddick into the building, albeit mad late, but still, he actually has played for the Jets. These moves, like in all the interchangeable moves, like going from like Quentin Jefferson to Kinlaw, all these things, they're just not working out in the Jets' favor.
But
Whitehead to Clark, it's just not working.
But now it could be Aaron Rodgers. It's his first year back after an injury. He's gonna be better next year when he's fully healthy, even the entire offseason. Davante Adams got here not week one. Hassan Reddick not here week one. The built-in storyline for me that I'm already seeing today with their inactivity at the trade deadline is that we got our pieces too late. As long as the Jets make not even a full run in the playoffs, dude, they get that 7-8. Woody Johnson can be like, you know what? I've seen enough this is enough that one more year, we're gonna push it down the line. We'll push that rebuild back one more year just to give us that one more chance of hope with Aaron Rodgers to do it. And I will go insane because I think it's the wrong idea. I don't like the way they're approaching this. I genuinely don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, again, it's just like the standard is just set so low. The bar is set so low.
Your standard is playoffs or fire everybody, right?
My standard is there needs to be some sort of vision when a general manager and head coach are hired. And Saleh is already out. They already fired Saleh.
Douglas should be out.
Again, when you're talking about a vision, like, what's the goal here? Who are we going to be? What's our identity? How are we going to play like? How are we going to build this team up? And I got to be honest, I like the direction that we were going down, building through the drafts, not really just handing out these mega deals. 5 years, 90 million to this guy.
Yep.
I'm okay not doing those things, going out and like signing like this or making like the splashiest move possible, going after the top names. Like if Douglas wants to skip the first day and wait until day 2 to pick up on like the deals, the tier 2 types of guys, that's cool. That's, I get that approach, but it actually has to work. So when things aren't working, Dalvin Cook, Carl Lawson, Corey Davis,
Mike
take
Williams.
your pick, man. Laken Tomlinson. Yeah, Mike Williams now, Adrian Amos, all these different guys that just have McCole Hardman, all these guys that just have not worked. Then you factor in the misses in the draft. The 2019 class is just wiped. You factor in the misses at quarterback. Still, dude, since 2019, we have still not found, that long-term answer. And he's had multiple cracks at it too. Not many GMs have multiple big swings, like home run swings at the quarterback position. And yeah, Aaron Rodgers is talented and whatnot, but to your point, as far as like bleeding into next season, like next season's kind of projection and like what the Jets should do, I think a big question is Aaron Rodgers, right? Is he going to get more mobile with time? Is he going to get more accurate with time? I feel as though those things have peaked right now. Is the system going to work the kinks out? No, the system did not work in Denver. The system did not work last year. The system is not working this season. So if we are fast forward to January, talking about this team, and we're outside of the playoffs, again, extending the playoff drought with all of the levers pulled, what more, like how do you sell that to Jets fans?
Well, no, I'm asking you. Like, I'm already adamant. Like, I'm ready to rebuild now. Like, I've seen enough to realize that Aaron Rodgers, as good as he is, isn't the answer. This coaching staff is not the answer. You may have assembled a nice group of talent. Lyman's not going to be here next year. To me, it's like I need a new leader. I need a new culture, a new leader, a new rebuild. I'm not buying into this whole we're going to run the table now and go 10-7. I'm not buying it. So it's frustrating for me to see how they're handling business now. And now we got to put our hope into win games. Hopefully they win games. But to me, it's like they're going to win enough games to screw up draft position and give false hope to Woody Johnson to say, you know what, this isn't that bad. Where the goal into the season was make a run at the Super Bowl, win the AFC East. Like I don't want to keep lowering the bar. Oh, no. We said that before injuries. We said that. No. You had a goal week 1 of what your goal was for the year. Win the AFC East, make a run. You're falling flat on your face once again. There is no redo. You're done with your redos. There's no reset button anymore. Now it's like we've got a clean house. And today was an interesting day because at 3-6, they're like, you know what? We're not going to trade DJ Reed. We're not going to do this. I'm like, all right, I get it. You want to sell tickets. You want to sell hope. That's all you got. But I don't agree with it. I just don't, because I'm just that negative person because I just don't believe what they're doing. I just don't. And the other part of this is a good point by John, is I'm really worried Douglas is somehow extended. Like you say, what other GM is going to come into the husk of an organization? And the reason why I think this is going to be a problem is if the Jets win enough games and buy into this whole Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams thing, who the hell wants to inherit Aaron Rodgers as a general manager? I don't want to inherit that. I want to have a young quarterback or the ability to draft my quarterback. I don't want to be like, yeah, I'll take on Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams for a year. And then when they do whatever they do, then I got to rebuild the year after that. Who wants to inherit that? Nobody does.
So just trying to find the comment here. Yeah. So John, you're saying, yeah, you're really worried about Douglas somehow being extended. The one thing is that he is in an expiring deal, and what he has not shown, to my knowledge, he's not shown like a I haven't heard of a new offer being presented or even talked about. It just feels as though it's going to run its course, and then the organization is going to pivot.
But Woody Johnson, 3 weeks ago said this is the best roster they've accumulated in 25 years.
But Woody also said thinking is overrated.
But I'm saying that you say something like that, Woody Johnson going to eat his words. They're going to say to him, you just said you're the best roster you had. You can blame that on coaching, right? Like to me, it's like when you fired Solly, you should have fired Douglas. You get clean house, start it over now, because you don't know who's making decisions now, and a lame duck general manager isn't the answer. It's just not.
So, if you want to click on John's comment real quick again, honestly, what I'm worried about the most is Rodgers doing the same thing that he did to Green Bay, which is I don't know if I'm out, I don't know if I'm in, and it's just taking months and months and months to get an answer. Like, I need to know immediately what his plans are going to be after the year.
Well,
But honestly, that's not going to impact. Well, I'm talking as if I'm the owner of the team. That's not going to impact my choices because we pulled all of our levers. It's not like, to me, it would be different if it was year one, year
right, I
two,
agree.
but it's not. It's years into this thing, and there's just no results. Like, Jets fans want results. All we're asking for is to make a playoff run.
I agree.
Can we build a sustainable organization? Can we get out of our own way? Can we play just clean football, safe football, coherent football, not be wasting timeouts and doing this and that and just, leading the NFL and talking about how good we are and headlines. Well, I guess maybe that's Dallas this season, but I mean, like you get the point.
No, I do. And now, so it's like you look at, they come off a win, and now the offensive line, like now it's like, all right, can the Jets get back to 500? You get to 6-6, we can start talking about positive things, but how do you get there? And I see all the comments. The offensive line is paramount. Protect Rodgers, run the ball. Morgan Moses is a true warrior playing with all the injuries he has, which is remarkable. AVT's banged up. Simpson's banged up. The backup, Hanson's banged up. It's a mess. You have Olu playing right guard, which was weird. But do you have any faith in the offensive line getting it together when you play against teams with much better pass rushers, when they know the Jets want to run the ball?
Again, it just comes down to the Jets. We're at the point where the Jets have got to prove to fans that they can go out and do it and not talk about it, but actually walk the walk. It's, again, celebrate the win against Houston. But to me, that the celebration, the talking about it, the, beating our chest, if you will, that needs to be put to bed on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, not in their, unless you're on their social media account, which, whatever. But the one thing the one question I have for you is, when it comes to the starting roster, your lineup, right? Who makes the decision who plays and who doesn't play? Is that Ulbrich? Do you think, is it Ulbrich?
The head coach.
Because now my next question is, now Tyron Smith played better this week, a little bit better. Now, did you see the whole thing with his contract about how he met his playing incentives? So now going forward, the next 3 weeks, he gets $1 million a game. And then the 5 following weeks, it's 1.25 a game based on playing time. You're going to tell me that an interim head coach is going to tell Tyron Smith, yo, man, you got to take a seat when you're costing him, literally taking money out of his pocket? You think he's going to do that?
I don't think he will. Beforehand, Tyron Smith was not playing well, and it wasn't up for debate. So,
right, but now this is how angry I am, dude. Because the more you think about things, it annoys you. Like, all right, the incentives, the financial, I understand it. Where it's like, all right, you want to inspire him to play well, but if he's not playing well, you literally drafted a left tackle, your future guy, that could be a smooth transition. Like, you know what? Once this season gets out of whack, say you lose on Sunday, I'm like, you know what, Tyron, we love you, dude. You're a Hall of Famer, but it's time for our youth movement now. We need to see what Olu can do at left tackle. I'd rather see him get playing time this year just to start getting established at left tackle instead of next year. Will the Jets do that? And who's making that decision? Is it an interim head coach or a lame duck general manager? That's what bothers me, the situation that they're in right now. It's like they're literally in no man's land with so many different things at 3-6.
And it sucks because they did it to themselves. Like, I'm okay with the roster if the record was better, if the on-field product was better, if the eye test was better, but it's simply not. Again, myriad of different issues: tackling, run defense, inconsistent offensive line play, inconsistent quarterback play, drama, Saleh, Hackett, all these different storylines. I feel like October was like one of the craziest months as far as Jets headlines go. Devontae Adams, Reddick, all these different things. The one thing that the Jets have control of, though, is themselves, and they need to take it one game at a time. Like, I've seen a lot of like after that Texans game, whether it was like that night or the next morning, it's like, oh, the Jets beat a really good team here, and again, lots of people have just been looking ahead, like, oh, well, Jacksonville's horrible, we should beat them, and Miami only has 2 wins, we should beat them. And the Colts have a quarterback dilemma with Flacco and Richardson. You know what? We should beat them. That's the exact mindset that I feel as though got us in this position in the first place. From an internal organization perspective, I think they just need to go into this Arizona Cardinals game starving for a win, backs against the wall mentality. Beating the Texans is a great win, but it doesn't accomplish anything in the grand scheme of things.
Well, no, because one win doesn't overcome 5 losses in a row. That's where I'm
Mhm.
at. Like, I remember my anger going into the game and watching the first half. Like, all right, they won. Listen, it was a relief. Don't get embarrassed again. I'm tired of getting embarrassed. You're happy for Garrett Wilson. You're happy for Aaron Rodgers. But when you turn the page, which is quickly, you're like, all right, we're still 3-6. How do we get this truly turned around where we could buy into it? To me, it starts with coaching all over the place. You look at the Cardinals, it's like they want to run the ball and they want to hit your quarterback. That's what they want to do. Two things the Jets struggle with, right? That's kind of there's no easy wins. Like, this team has so much to prove to me. And we talked about this last night, where it's just like this historically, you look at the New York Jets, no matter who the coach is, coming off a mini bye and a win and traveling to the West Coast or past the Midwest, they always lose this game, dude. Always, and usually in embarrassing fashion too. So if they actually win on Sunday, I believe a lot more than I do today. But I just you don't see that. Like, what right now is the strength of this team? Like, what's the thing you can put your hat on? Like, you know what? They're very good at this. What is that?
Well, there's really none. And I hate to be negative here, but it's like, are we a great passing team? No. Are we a great rushing attack? No. Are we great at tackling? No. Are we great at kicking? No. Special teams has not been good this season. How about penalties? Nope. Turnovers? Nope. So efficient football? Nope. Third downs? Nope. Red zone? Not really. To me, a lot of Jets like we're kind of like I feel as though the word associated with the Jets fans right now is hope, not conviction. We don't have like, if you're a Ravens fan, you're watching the Ravens with conviction. This is a damn good team. Our quarterback is freaking phenomenal. Our coaching staff is phenomenal. If you're a whatever, take your pick on any well-ran team, the Lions, right? All these different squads. You have conviction as a fan. With the Jets, it's just, I feel, and I can't speak for anyone else, except for me, but this is just my feeling. And, a couple of my buddies, outside of the channel who are Jets fans, they kind of feel the same way. They're watching the game, hoping we win. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But I think having that conviction that we can go out there and win, and that was what was sold from the organization to us with all of these different veterans, all of these different moves, all of this time assembling this roster. To not have that conviction leaves me, at least, with just kind of an empty feeling.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'm like, all right, cool. They won. Like, I mean, Garrett Wilson, that catch was easily the best catch I've ever seen in my entire life from a Jets receiver. Like, that catch is great. And you're seeing Garrett Wilson emerge, which is phenomenal. Devontae Adams with his touchdown was great. Oh, you have a catch that's better?
Corbett, Monday Night Miracle, maybe. Jumbo Elliott, even. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
You're gonna take Jumbo Elliott's catch over freaking Garrett Wilson? Come on, man.
Dude, the moment, man, assuming, not saying I'm taking it over, Garrett Wilson's, but I can't sit here and say it's the best catch I've ever seen from a Jets receiver. I'd really have to do some thinking about it, but it's definitely up there. Definitely top 3 or 4.
You're losing your biggest supporter right now.
With the catch?
Yep.
I'm not saying it's a bad catch. I thought it was, it's easily a top 3 catch of the season. But for me to just, I've been watching the Jets for a long time. Not as long as you, obviously, but there's been some good catches, man.
So you look at the offensive line, definitely a work in progress, ravaged by injuries. Brees is coming along. The offense, I mean, you want to see more out of Conklin, but you're not going to see it. I think right now that it's safe to say the pass catchers are going to be Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall. That's it. Like, I don't think anybody else is getting the ball, right? They don't seem to want to spread it around, especially with Lazard out. I don't think anybody else is going to get chances. Now you have Corley, in theory, should get more opportunities. His play last week was mind-blowing, dropping the ball before the end zone. But you got to figure at some point he's got to get more involved in the offense other than just being a blocker, right?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think so, because it's like, here we are again talking about the draft, and the plan initially was, okay, Olu's not going to play because Tyron Smith is there. But I'm at the point, especially if we lose this week against the Cardinals, young players are playing.
I agree.
Corley is immediately elevated, and he's getting way more opportunities. Olu immediately elevated. Watts, McGregor, more snaps. And although it might not be like the best chance to win, according to the Jets, according to the coaching staff, it doesn't matter because we've already lost so many games. And obviously this current plan of attack is not working. So I want to get some, fresh faces into the lineup here. The good news about Corley and kind of the dropped pass or dropped football, entering the end zone is to have like your big NFL like first kind of moment onto the scene be that just like humiliating,
Yeah.
embarrassing even. It's never gonna happen again. Like that moment is like every single time Corley crosses the end zone from here on out, it's going to be in his mind. I think it's going to hone. I would like to think it's going to hone Corley's craft and just kind of, hey, it isn't this easy, and I really got to be on my stuff. I literally let the team down, and like because of me, and yeah, we won, great, but that cannot happen again.
He's lucky they won. If he didn't win, if they Jets didn't win, he'd be run out of town. Fans would not be so polite to him now. Like now it's like, now it's kind of funny. I can't believe he did that, but the Jets won. If they lost, like, this kid immature, lack of discipline, lack of that. But I'm with you. I want to see him play more. Him and Braylon Allen should play more. Now, defensively, a lot of injuries. What is your take on Sauce Gardner, man? Where another guy where it's just like he has all world. We've seen him play all pro level. Do you think he's injured? Is he just not into it? It's something going on. Like, what's the problem with Sauce Gardner?
It sucks, man, because it's like you look at the potential, right? 6'4", somebody that size should not be that quick. Like his foot, like feet, and just his ability to like make just quick, instant decisions and to like actually physically move like that at his size, height and length is crazy. In the past, tackling's been an issue. In the past, he's always been like handsy with receivers, like jersey tugs, hand pulls, whatever. Like he's not turning his head around. Like there's always been issues. But because like if you talk to fans that aren't Jets fans about Gardner, a lot of them will say, he's a holding machine. He doesn't get called. Doesn't get called. The refs, for whatever reason, don't throw flags. The refs are throwing flags this season. So you're now at a position where, you have a corner on the outside who is hyped up, who is a top 5 pick, but is just simply not a good tackler. Whether that is effort, whether that is he's hurt,
like his technique is off though too. Isn't like his technique he
doesn't go low. Like it seems to me.
I mean,
like
his coverage is off too though. It's not like he's getting beat by like the top guy all the time. He's getting beat by second and third string receivers too. Where it's like I saw the one thing with Brian Baldwin and breaking down like he's not using his feet right. He's not using his hips right. Like it's just I don't know. It just seems like something's off. Like he's either not focused on the game, or he's injured, or he's disinterested, or there's got to be something going on. It just seems weird to me.
Yeah, not in some sort of weird way, but I would like to hear that Gardner's actually injured and is dealing with some sort of like he has some sort of thing going on which can justify his play.
Yep.
But if he's 100% healthy, then something's got to look. I mean, yeah, Xavier, the mannerisms are terrible.
Yep.
The pass coverage is not good. The tackling is not good. The penalties are through the roof. It's really looking like he's struggling to stick like hip to hip with guys and turning his head around. At what point do we have to say, all right, he's just a liability? I mean, look at the Steelers and the Bills rushing attack, and even the 49ers too. But the Bills and the Steelers both presented two powerful kind of, bowling ball style running backs and Ray Davis and Najee Harris. And just look at the tackling, man. It's just like a lot of arm tackles, a lot of just stuff going like high, like stuff like that, right? Not going low and really just sticking his nose in there. I hate to make this comparison because he's a Hall of Famer, but someone that we all watch was Darrelle Revis, right? Him as a tackler was such. I mean, Jets fans know this, right? So I don't want to say it's underrated, but Revis as a tackler was awesome, dude. He was awesome. And yeah, he was stout. Yeah, he was a little shorter than Sauce Gardner, but the effort and the kind of the attitude and approach that Revis had with tackling was the same with getting picks and locking down and pass coverage. Like there was just that hard-nosed mentality where it seems like Gardner, again, maybe he's hurt, maybe he's afraid of contact. I don't know, but what we do know is that the production is significantly dipping with Gardner on the outside, and that's an issue.
So you have Sauce, which is frustrating, but then you have Quinnen Williams, who's playing like a man amongst boys. He's playing to his contract right now, where he is completely disruptive. I think having Reddick definitely helps because Reddick is creating pressure on the outside, but Quinnen looks awesome, man. And so it's like if you're looking for a glimmer of hope on the defensive side, which has been disappointing for most of the year, Quinnen playing like this, Reddick getting his football legs helps. But to me, it's like, what's the run defense? And with the trade deadline here, you're like, hey, if they can get a run stopper, that'd be kind of cool. Now, I know Quentin Jefferson was released. He's more a pass rusher, not really a run guy, but like that was the one piece I like to see him get because the run defense is bad. And you have James Conner coming here, or not here, there. And you have Kyler Murray who also runs very well. That's got to be a legitimate concern for the Jet defense where they've got to either man up, change their scheme to something else, and fix what's going on here.
Yeah, dude. And like another thing too, it's like the Jets brought it seemed like they put all their stock in Lecky Fotu coming in from, ironically enough, Arizona.
Disaster.
And it's not been good, man.
It's not been healthy.
Yeah, he's not been healthy, and he's back on IR. So, hopefully he gets healthy soon and, he gets back on the field and starts producing, but I don't want it to be too little too late.
No, but this is how I ask this question. It's like, come on, like, to me, it's like I respect the undrafted free agents that are on the team. You have McGregor and Watts and all these guys. But to me, it's like there's no defensive tackles in the free agent market that can come and be an instant upgrade and be like, all right, we need a run stuffer. That we got to sign when we need it, desperately need that. There's nobody on the street to make a move for?
I think I actually just saw, like an hour before we kicked this thing off, I think the Cowboys released Phillips, ex-Bill.
He's probably going back to the Bills.
Yeah, 2 hours ago, the Dallas Cowboys released Jordan Phillips. He wouldn't be bad, in my opinion.
But like, if you're but this is my question. Like, if you're going to actually take the Jets seriously, which I'm not, but you can, saying they're going to try to make this run. Well, they have a legit need for a run stopper. It's obvious at this point you need that. Wouldn't you be proactive and try to find that person? Like, either make some moves. Like, I understand you want to develop your underrated free agents, and they're showing all this, but like, all right, it's not working. Something's not working. So go sign somebody. Now, maybe it's him. I mean, Jefferson isn't really a run guy, though. He's more a pass rusher. Al Woods was the run guy last year. Jefferson had all the sacks, right? Am I missing something with that?
Yeah, no, I think if we bring Quentin Jefferson in, that would be flat out sweet. We'd be in a better position with Jefferson than without him. But I feel like he kind of plays the Kinlaw role.
Exactly.
And Kinlaw is still here, So, yeah, I think another great point here from Tony. The JFM trade was the worst. So we lose Jefferson, we lose Woods, we lose Huff, and we lose Franklin Myers. That's 4 key players. And yeah, Al Woods did get hurt. But there's 4 key players that we lost at one unit, which arguably was like kind of the pillar or the face of the team, outside of like the superstars. So it's tough to come back from that if the plan is, all right, we're gonna reload and swap all these different guys. And you got to imagine that was like a voluntary choice that the Jets wanted to make because they overpaid for the players that they brought in. It's not like, oh, well, Quentin Jefferson wants $15 million a year.
Well, they wanted to bring him back, but they screwed up the communication process. That's the problem with him. But the question is, like, you've already made your bed. So now you're 3-6, and your season's on the line. Every week's the season's on the line. You can't lose games, right? So you play in the Cardinals, and your run defense has got to be much better. How did the Jets shore that up in their mini bye week? Like, what changes do they make?
I mean, you gotta hope that they address it, because I feel as though it hasn't really been addressed this season. And like you said, dude, James Conner, Kyler Murray running around, and it's another issue that the Jets face. Mobile quarterbacks, like think of like, dude, Jacoby Brissett hitting those first down runs, Drake May running around. Drake May literally looked like Josh Allen in the first half of the game before he was knocked out, moving around with the football in his hands. So the Jets have got their work cut out for them. Ideally, you would like to bring someone else in. Like the Bills are a good example. I think they brought in like Daquan Jones last year. Like that's another team that just struggles to stop the run. I don't really. I have a hard time putting my finger on why, because they have so much talent on the defense side of the football. But that's a team that's actually active, and they'll pick up these veterans. They'll pick up guys that, don't really, they won't spend, like, it's not like they're with the team in training camp. They'll just pick them up off the free agency market, get them a week of practice, and then just kind of plug and play them situationally on first down or second down and 10, like those obvious run situations. So hopefully, we can do something similar and actually add someone to the room. But at this point, I just don't again, I'm hoping someone steps up. I don't have conviction that someone will step up.
Now,
And it's not a shot. It's just where we're currently at.
do you give now with this mini bye week, give a longer period of time to make adjustments? Now, Ulbricht's like, you know what? Now everything's not crammed into 2 days, 1 day, all that. You have time to make changes. Can Ulbricht make actual adjustments to his defense and change it up and maybe be more aggressive, change your scheme up, do something, change your lineup up? Can he do that to improve this defense in this little break that they have, or no? Because they have to. Like you can't go status quo when it's not working. Now this is on Ulbricht, who this is coaching for his job right now, right? This is his chance to keep this job or get fired. Every week. Do you think maybe he can impress us with something new?
He definitely can. I would like to think he could go out and do that, but I'm a little hesitant on that because we haven't seen like literally any of the issues under Saleh get fixed. Leadership is still in question. Accountability is still in question. Tackling is still in question. Quarterback plays still in question outside of the second half, right? But Ulbrich has been here for weeks.
Defense has talent though, dude, don't they? Or they just, did we overrate the players? Like you saw Clemens had a couple sacks. Like you're seeing, can they maybe turn things around the second half of the season and play much better defense? I mean, to me, they used to be a good tackling kind of physical defense. They haven't shown any of that. Tackling is effort, dude. That's more just like that's mind over matter kind of stuff there. Can they clean that up and say, listen, we have a chance now because it's either now or never. If we don't win against the Cardinals, chances are we're not going to be, we may not be playing anymore. So can they change it?
Yeah, well, I think having Michael Carter healthy, having DJ Reed healthy, Tony brings up a great point. Jalen Mills is our best safety.
Jalen Mills has been very good.
So you essentially get a massive upgrade at nickel corner, outside corner, and safety right in the middle of the year, just with guys getting healthy. And in the case of Mills, ready to play.
Yep.
You now have Hassan Reddick. And, I know a lot of people were, saying, oh, he wasn't an impact guy. He didn't have any sacks and this and that. But I thought he looked fast, dude.
He did.
I think I heard Bill Belichick made a comment. He's just like, oh, Reddick just runs by the quarterback. Like in this style of system, I really don't mind the D end, like trying to speed rush over the tackle because we have a guy in Quinnen Williams who could rush the passer from the inside. So, if you can get Reddick to really shoot that tackle backwards and out, and also Will McDonald on the other side, ideally you'd like to have a Jermaine Johnson in there too, but unfortunately dealing with the Achilles. If you could have these two speed rushers pull, not every play, but in these third and longs and in obvious passing situations, if you could have them pull the tackles backwards and out and kind of force the quarterback to step up in the pocket and make a throw, now all of a sudden you're looking at a position where like literally the opposing quarterback is stepping up, moving closer to Quinnen Williams.
Yep.
And that is, at times Quinnen Williams has shown the ability to break right through double teams. You kind of feel like the Jets are blitzing a little bit more. So if you want to send more internal pressure and you send Reddick off the edge out wide, I think that can maybe, give us some sort of a spark.
But what would you think is there more pressure on the Jets run defense this week or the Jets offense?
I think it's always going to be the offense.
I think so.
Yeah. I haven't heard one person on like national sports media talk about run defense. I've heard them talk about Aaron Rodgers. I've heard them talk about Hackett. I've heard them talk about Devontae Adams.
So how do you think the Jets offense matches up against the Cardinals? The defense?
We got to be prepared because Jonathan Gannon is going to Gannon is aggressive as hell.
That's my biggest fear, dude.
Yeah, I think Budda Baker has done a fantastic job this season. Yep. So I'm not saying I'm nervous for the game, but again, I'm hoping the Jets win. We haven't seen that conviction that the Jets can actually string, victories along against good quality opponents.
So you're thinking it's going to be paramount to have a very good offensive line play, have protection for Tyron Smith, maybe a running back in the backfield to help protect Aaron Rodgers, like solid blitz pickup. Like that's got to be, because I had the same thing. Like, all right, the Jets offense played well last week, but they're going to face fury in Arizona. They're going to come after him, and rightfully so, because Aaron Rodgers doesn't look ridiculously mobile, and the offensive line has a lot of mistakes, and they're injured, very injured at this point. So they've got to be able to adjust to that and figure out ways to offset that. Whether it's a quick passing game to Breece Hall, use Corley. You can use these guys, quick slants to Garrett. Like they went away from certain things that made no sense to me, But I'm hoping that they bring him back this week because they know they have to.
Yeah, and I think the pressure from like a media storyline headline perspective is of course on the offense. Because if Rodgers goes out there and throws 2 picks and completes, 52% of his passes and we lose, that's obviously going to be the main takeaway.
Yep.
But I do think, tackling, running the football, and controlling Kyler Murray, and it's so much easier said than done. But I mean, if you want to talk about quarterback spy or whatever, if we can't slow down Drake May, we can't slow down Josh Allen running the football, we can't slow down Jacoby Brissett running the football. If we let guys like run around back there and extend plays, there's, Kyler Murray's top 3 in the league. At doing that, at being able to just put a move on a defender, buy time, find someone down the field, pick up a first down with his legs. In the point I was talking about before, where you have the 2 edge rushers on the outside, pull the tackles out wide. Murray won't look to step up. Murray will look to take a half step up and bolt out to the right or left, and then just take off. So, if you're in a position like that, where Murray makes up his mind to run and he tucks it and books it, like the chances of him outrunning a Jamien Sherwood, Chaz Surratt, or who I don't even know what the status is for CJ Mosley, to be honest. Like he had the weird neck thing in pregame. So I don't know if he's supposed to play or whatever. Because I don't think
look good actually though. Sherwood, I mean, not saying he's on Kyler Murray's level, but they set the edge better. I mean, Quincy Williams, Sherwood, they have some speed there. I can actually get to it, but it's a matter of their scheme and have they spy on them. But I think the one thing you mentioned was really good is if Hassan Reddick does keep running past him, he'll exploit you for that. Like you almost want to go upfield, but not like so sharp in, like out, kind of keep him in the pocket, not like force him out. If you force him out, nobody's behind you, he's gonna get 8-9 yards every time.
Yeah, if we could keep Kyler in the pocket, I think we'll be okay. Because I do trust I do trust Michael Carter in the slot. I do trust DJ Reed on the outside. I don't trust Gardner at this point. I want to, but I just don't see it this year. I think Jalen Mills gets better every single week. I actually think Jalen Mills led the team in tackles.
He looks
last
awesome,
week.
dude. Good angles, physical.
Yeah, physical, dude. He's I would say he's one of the most physical players on the defense.
Yeah,
but it looks like he's the smallest guy out there, which is really cool, right? And by the way, not really diving into the whole buyers sellers thing that we were talking about before, but Jalen Mills is someone who I would want re-signed right now on a cheap 1-year deal for next year. Just lock him in. He's looked better than Clark. He's looked better than Tony Adams. He's looked better than Ashton Davis, and he wasn't even here. Last season, and he was picked up late. So I think I think there's more pressure on the offense from like a headline perspective, but the defense needs to tighten up because I don't want Kyler Murray to have a field day running around with the football, which is kind of, his MO.
So then your keys, so we defensively, I think we're on the same page with that. Offensively, what's your 2 keys of the game to win this game?
Get the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands quickly. That to me, I don't want to see Aaron Rodgers doing these big, drop backs and whatnot and
waiting,
essentially putting our tackles on islands. And I read today that Morgan Moses is actually playing through injury.
Serious ones, dude.
Yeah, Gannon probably heard that. And Gannon, I would not be surprised if he just sends 2 off the right side. We're going to send 2 guys to attack Moses and, make him decide. Really get physical there. So I think for me, Rodgers cannot be double clutching. First read isn't there, second read isn't there, and he's just sitting back there in the pocket because I don't trust Rodgers' legs to move around and outrun some of these Cardinals, linebackers and whatnot. So, ideally establish the run game. I want to see Braylon Allen involved more.
I agree. Now, no, I completely agree with you. I think my biggest key to this game is going to sound like a Captain Obvious comment is they've got to come out from the first whistle nasty, physical, aggressive, prepared. Don't come out sluggish. Don't come out sloppy. Don't come out with this, you have 14 passing yards at halftime and you have 5 first downs. You've got to set the tone as the pace yourself because you're on the road and you don't want to give this Cardinal team a good Cardinals team. I get messages all day long. Oh, bro, you're overrating the Cardinals. The Cardinals are a good team, man. They have talent. They're
legit right now.
They're a legit team that can put it on you if you come out sloppy like you did against Texans. They've got to come out with a different mindset, dude. From the first, on all three phases, special teams, defense, offense, come out physical, come out prepared. The Jets' scripted plays on offense always look awful. I have no idea why. That's got to change. The defense can't wait a quarter and a half to get adjusted. That's got to change. Like, you've got to, if you want to make a legitimate run at getting back to 500, it starts there. It has to, because you can't get, like, mistakes they made on Thursday, they can't make against the Cardinals. They just can't, because they literally given the game away and they couldn't take advantage of it because they had no weapons. The Cardinals have some good players that can take advantage of it.
Yeah, I couldn't say it any better.
So what's your level of confidence in winning on Sunday?
It's tough. I hope the Jets win. I don't have conviction that we will. I think if we do win, though, if we beat Houston, go out to Arizona, beat them, I'm going to have I'll be a lot more encouraged about the end of this season, because this is the test.
This is it.
The Jets have always had the talent to go out and beat whoever on any given Sunday. But the test is, can you string along games? Can you string along wins against actual good teams?
Well,
can you
handle
get out
can you
coached?
handle success too? They just had a week where everybody's praising them once again, like the Patriot game. Great game. Everybody with the first Patriot game. They're like, oh my God, the Jets have arrived. They're back. Now you have the Garrett Wilson catch, which is beating us over the head every 2 minutes on social media. We're back. We believe in us. Devontae Adams is talking about this has like the we're not going to lose a game feel to it. But this is the moment, dude, where prove us all wrong, because now you're on the road. They'll send like all these things we were used to seeing. They've got to break so many curses on Sunday, and I'm not sure they can do it. I think the reason why is my lack of belief in the leadership of the team and the coaching of the team. The overall coaching of the team, to me, remains a concern.
Yeah, I just don't want Arizona to like smell blood in the water.
Exactly.
And say this team is old, this team is beat up. We know Rodgers isn't going to move. We know Moses is dealing with something. We know they have limited interior offensive linemen. We're going to be sending the house. We're going to be attacking them. We're going to be sending stunts every which way and just confuse the hell out of them. So yeah, like you said, dude, I hope it's the opposite. I hope the Jets come out and just punch the Cardinals in the mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is a good point. I think Downing has improved week by week as a play caller. I feel more confident in the offense and the defense. I mean, I think you saw some good things and some bad bad things last week too. Some of this stuff makes you go crazy, where run, third and long pass, like just there's no rhyme or reason about what's going on, but they get credit for having the big breakout in the second half.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this, right? We had mistakes. It was not fun. It was not fun to watch. It was not pretty. It was not good football in the first half, but we actually found a way to win. We did battle adversity, and we walked away with a W against a good team. So I'll take that.
So, okay, today is November 5th. What are the chances, this is your early prediction, that the Jets will make it to 6-6?
Oh, 6-6? 30%.
All right. So then what about 5-6? They get to 5-6. What are the chances of that?
A lot higher. A lot
Okay.
higher. Not overrating Arizona and Indy, but I would say 49%.
Scared to say 50? Scared to break that plateau?
No, I'm not going to go to that halfway point. The Jets have lost horrible games in horrible fashion, beating themselves over and over. So, for me to sit here and say, oh yeah, I have over a 50% chance in my head of them going to Arizona and beating them, then coming back home. Again, like you said, dude, managing success, handling it, to then beat Indianapolis at home. It's a big task. We have to see it as fans. I'm done with talking about how good we are.
That's what
I mean?
I can't.
I'm talking internally, like from the org.
Yeah, I can't do it. Like I can't justify. Like I can't keep talking about good performances that we haven't seen. Like we know what should happen, but it has to happen like consistently. Yeah. Now, if you were a football handicapper? How would you give this game? Like Jets -3, Jets +3. But what would you handicap? How would you handicap this game?
I would say Jets plus like 4.5.
Really?
Yeah. So Cardinals are the favorite.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, why are you surprised by that? Arizona.
Listen, man. Listen. Everybody was excited to talk to you today, hear from you today, because you're the positive one. I'm already beaten and given up. I'm already I want everybody fired and traded, and I'm already rebuilding. I'm creating my coaches list already. But you're the guy. You're the voice of reason and optimism. So I'm trying to get where you're at.
Well, first off, I appreciate you saying that, man. But, yeah, I like to try to be optimistic, but at the same time, as Ed pointed out here, they just have to show us that they can win.
Yep.
Like, we can talk about how good Devontae Adams is and how good, whatever on paper we are. But until we actually go out and kind of debunk some of the team's biggest issues and flaws, like there's really nothing more that I could say. You know what I mean?
I agree. Listen, if they win on Sunday, that'll turn me a little bit. Like, you know what?
Yeah,
I'll be
because
impressed
why?
because it's
Because
a
they
game
answer a question.
they answer some questions finally. Because like winning one game is no big deal if you lost 5 in a row. Every squirrel finds a nut eventually, right? That's the way it works. You string along 2 wins, one on the road after what we've seen against a good team. All right, now I could buy into it. And then you slowly but surely you're earning your credibility back. You beat a good Texans team. You can find reasons why maybe you shouldn't have, right? You beat the Cardinals. That's 2 in a row. Then you bring on the Colts. Then you can see a vision like, all right, now we could buy into something, but they've got to earn it. And they haven't earned it for me yet. So that's where they've got to kind of bring things back for me a little bit.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Comes down to coaching. I think it's huge. And this is the week where coming off that success and all the hype around Garrett Wilson, this is what comes down to Rodgers and all the leadership in the room saying, listen, we haven't arrived. We haven't accomplished anything. We have a long way to go. And you got to keep it going. So it's gonna be interesting. This game's gonna be fascinating, dude. Because I have no idea what to expect. Like what team shows up, we have no idea.
Yeah. Yep. We need to come out fast.
We have to.
We have to get in the end zone early. We cannot, receive and just go 3 and out with a sack. And
I got to ask you a question. I almost called you last night. I was out of my mind. So you're watching the game last night, and I'll admit it, I'm a Baker Mayfield fan. I think it's awesome that he resurrected his career. I love watching him play football. I love his passion. I love his energy. I love what he brings to the table. He brings the team back and he ties the game. And I'm like, well, Todd Bowles has got to go for 2 here. There's 27 seconds left. I'm like, you got to go for 2. You got to go for the win. You're on the road. And Todd Bowles kicked the point after. Bro, I was ready to put my foot through the TV. I'm like, we know who this coach is. If you're the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you just tied the game against the Kansas City Chiefs on the road, 27 seconds left. Are you kicking the field goal or are you going for 2?
No, I'm kicking the extra point, man.
Bro, we're done with the stream. I'm never talking to you ever again. How do you not go for 2? You go for the win. It's the Chiefs. Because
it's not if you kick the extra point, you're tied. You're not in a losing situation.
You're kicking the field goal?
Well, the extra point, yeah. So
no way, you can't.
Well, it's easy to say that now after it work.
My first thought is, first of all, I wouldn't call the timeout where they call timeout. That was stupid. But you have to go for 2. You go for the win.
So let me ask you this: if the Bucks let me ask you this: if the Bucks kick the extra point and they win the toss and they receive, how are you feeling about the decision?
I have honestly no confidence in stopping Patrick Mahomes in a big spot in overtime. I don't. I would, because that's what the guy has a history of winning. So if I have my chance to go for 2, listen, I understand if you go for 2, you don't get it. The game is over there. I'd rather go for the win and take my chance there to kick that point after.
The way I kind of look at it is, from Tampa's perspective, is Bowles is a defensive guy.
But he did the same. I almost cursed again. He did the same stuff when he was here.
Yeah,
I can't believe you said that. We're not friends anymore. I'm blocking you. Watch. I'm blocking you right now on my phone. You're blocked.
So it's again, bro. It's easy to say that after it doesn't work, but
come on, man,
bro. What are the storylines?
Hold on.
What are the storylines going to be?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
So then that's our situation this Sunday.
What?
This Sunday, Jets Cardinals, Aaron Rodgers, an awesome drive, ties the game. We're down 27, down 28-27. Do you kick the point after, or do you go for 2 to win the game?
No. This situation is completely different. A, the Jets kicking has been absolutely atrocious this season. Granted, new kicker. B, the Jets are, this every game is a must win. So, if you have the momentum, I trust my vet QB, literally a Hall of Famer, to pick up 2 yards in a must get it situation. As opposed to, a defense that can't tackle, a defense that can't stop the run, a defense going up against one of the most mobile quarterbacks in football, and Kyler Murray in their house in overtime. Whereas with Tampa, Todd Bowles' defenses are established. They actually did a pretty good job, in the grand scheme of things last night against Mahomes. They stopped him. I believe it was the drive before. So in his mind, he's thinking, okay, you know what? We just scored. We just got in the end zone. If we get the coin flip, we're going to go right down the field. And, Mahomes just does Mahomes things. No one can freaking stop him. Obviously, he's undefeated, or the Chiefs are undefeated rather. But what would the headlines be if Todd Bowles goes for 2 and they don't get it? And they're
I respect the hell out of it. I would respect it. Like, you know what? I played this game to win the game. I know what I'm up against in Kansas City against Mahomes and everything he brings. We've seen him come back in the playoffs and everywhere else. He has that magic. I want to go for the win and take chances on my defense. It's like if I lose, I lose. But I think my team respects me more too. Like, you know what? Our coach is all in. Like, this is it. This is what we're here for. We want to go toe-to with the best. We went for the kill shot. That's what I think.
I think if it was in the playoffs, it'd be a little bit of a different story. But the way, I mean, I think the Bucks were like 9.5-point underdogs coming in. Yeah. So Chiefs heavy favorites. I just kind of think the defensive approach from Todd Bowles, like, I'm a defensive guy. I'm going to call this defense. We've done a good job. We just got to first of all, we have to lose the coin toss, then just keep them out of the end zone. And our offense is just scorching hot with no Evans, with no Godwin. It could have gone either way. I don't really think that either option was just egregious. If the Bucks went for 2, I'm like, oh, it is what it is. You make a ton of great points. Everyone's making great points. You have a chance, but I'm not going to kill Todd Bowles. Kill the Bucks for.
No, I was legit yelling at the TV, like legit, like angry, like I'm like jet angry. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is why we fired you. Shit, like stuff like this. Like, you got to get out of it. Like, it just drove me crazy, man. Because I just you want to put Mahomes away. Like, don't give him that chance. Like, now the timeout they called was even worse, but that's what Bowles does too. Like, timeout.
Yeah. The timeout was
terrible.
Yeah. But the decision in the end, I'm not gonna just completely rip them apart for it. You're
lucky. I'm not a Tampa Bay Bucks content creator. I've been going nuts last night.
But, hey man, I live like 20 minutes from the stadium. I see Bucks fans pretty much every day.
Yeah, nice stadium too. It's pretty cool. Do you hear the cannons when they shoot them off?
No. I'm too far away from that. But when you're there, it's actually a pretty sweet stadium, man. Like, if you go, so I drive by it all the time. I've been a bunch like outside because it's right off kind of one of the main roads, Dale Mayberry. So it's not like MetLife Stadium where it's like way off in the distance and you have to like pull in and it's like this massive parking lot. Like, you just kind of have to find parking and there's space to walk around and stuff. I went for a night game. It was when Brady was there against Goff and McVay and the Rams. And I forget, I think the Rams ended up winning in the end. Brady threw a pick, but yeah, no, we had great seats. Someone invited me to go. So yeah, it was like right in the mid 50-yard line, kind of mid, not on the upper deck, on the first level, nice. mid level seats. And it was a lot of fun, but it does get hot, dude, down in Florida. But Jacksonville Stadium is my least favorite in Florida.
Really?
You're just sitting there getting baked in the oven, man. It's just there's no shade.
Well, Miami's not better either because the Jets are on the sunny side when they play Miami. So as the shade comes in, the Dolphin side's all covered, and you sit there and you just roast, dude. You sit there just like you're just watching your skin melt as you watch the game. Miami's rough, dude. Nice stadium, but it's so hot. It's brutal.
See, yeah. So like whenever I go to games, I always just kind of pick like where I want to sit in the stadium.
Yeah,
I'm never really thinking about like home away side or anything like that.
Except for basketball. They'll probably be loyal to my team, but never again. Like, I was, dude, roasting. Like, you're watching your sunburn get sunburned. You're like, this is incredible. It's miserable.
So. Well, it was funny, dude, because I remember the last Jet game I went down in Miami. I sat in the Dolphin side because so me and my brother were gifted a couple tickets, and there were sweet seats, and we were under like in the like under the awning. Yeah, there's that it's kind of enclosed.
Yeah, it is.
And we were chilling, dude. Like, there's a nice breeze on the shady side, and I mean, you're looking at the Jets sideline, just kind of feeling like, dude, those guys are just melting over there. But no, I mean, our seats every time I go, they're not bad in Miami, but Jacksonville, dude, like God forbid you wear pants, bro. Like you're just gonna be soaked in sweat. It's gross.
You got to get the pool seats. You got to sit in the pool and watch the game.
It's not as big as what it's kind of made out to be.
And
My buddy Dalton has got the pool seats once, and he said it was cool. But yeah, Jackson, yeah, it's hot, dude. It's hot.
All right. Well, we covered a lot tonight. We didn't argue too much. I thought we were going to argue more, but that wasn't too bad.
No, man. I mean, I think really the main takeaway here is like we have to see this team actually walk the walk.
Yeah.
And until then, we're just gonna be hoping that they do.
Yeah, and so what? One more question. I had to ask this before. What do you consider them mathematically eliminated? Is it how many more losses? 8 losses, they're done.
So this is what I was going to ask you before about the playoff picture with that last wild card. So let's just kind of give our, kind of rough projections now. So for me, well, I'll actually let you take it.
I want to hear. Go ahead. You're rolling. Let's hear yours.
Yeah. So in the North, I got the Ravens winning the division. Ravens or Steelers, but I'll go Ravens. I mean, they just freaking roll, dude. AFC South Texans, AFC West Chiefs, AFC East Bills. So 4 division winners. Yep. The 3 wild cards, I'm going Steelers. This is where it gets a little weird, right? Because Miami only has 2 wins, bro.
Yeah.
They were projected to make the playoffs. And granted, they did play the Bills pretty.
They could have won that game very easily.
They could have. So and Mike McDaniel does go on runs, but to, say, oh, they're going to rattle off 5 or 6 straight to get back to, 5. They're in a worse position than us.
Yep. The Bengals are interesting.
Yeah, the Bengals are interesting. I would probably say one of the wild card spots goes to the Chargers because it seems like Harbaugh and Herbert, like they're managing to win games. Granted, they haven't really played like a lot of their. I feel as though the Chargers have had some pretty easy games on easy games on the schedule. No game is easy, but it's not like they're playing like this absolute gauntlet. So again, for me, Steelers / Ravens wild card, but probably Pittsburgh. Chargers, I'll pencil in. Miami, New England, Raiders, Browns, no chance. Tennessee, no chance. Jacksonville, no chance. Indy's interesting.
Yep.
I just don't feel like they're going to be able to hang enough to the end.
I agree.
And hopefully I'm not, eating my words in a couple weeks when we play them. But, for me, who gets that last wild card spot? Is it going to be the Jets? Is it going to be the Bengals? Is it going to be the Broncos? And I mean, you could laugh at Denver, but like they have 5 wins right now, I believe. So,
yep.
So it's that last spot, and that's to me like because I think the first 4, 5, I think the first 6 are pretty much locks.
So how many wins do you think you need? 9 or 10?
Bare minimum 9. Bare minimum 9. If the Bengals keep losing, I think it. I think it gets a little interesting because it's like, you never want to like limp into the playoffs with like a losing record, but hey, it's NFL football. Like you just got to get in.
Well, that's where your conference record comes in. That's where the Jets losses to the Broncos, Steelers, Patriots, all these losses are coming.
Yeah.
That's where that's why it's like, I'm trying to say, the Jets can go 6-2. They can find a way to be in the mix, but the tiebreakers you worry a lot about that, and then it's like, well, they're not gonna go 7-1. I highly doubt that. So it's going to be interesting, man. They're there. They have a glimmer of a chance, but these other teams, like seeing the Colts fall apart is kind of cool because you have a glimmer of hope there. Broncos kind of falling off a little bit, but the Chargers are good. The Bengals, I just think they find a way every year to turn it around, and Burrow's playing ridiculous right now.
Yeah. So, for me, again, the question is who gets the last wild card spot? Is it the Jets? Is it the Bengals? Who's it going to be? I feel pretty confident that Pittsburgh's going to make it.
I think so too.
I think the Chargers get in. I could very well see them not get in or barely miss it, like 8 and 9. But I mean, they're just so good on defense. They're good in the trenches. Joe Alt looks phenomenal, dude.
Yeah,
it's hard to say Jim Harbaugh, one of the best coaches, one of the best defenses, one of the best quarterbacks, are going to be on the outside looking in. In a year where you kind of feel like the AFC has a lot of underperformers.
No, I agree. All right. I'm recording all these and taking all these notes, like how these, 3 weeks from now we can come back to him like, well, you said this and you're wrong. or you're right. You never know. So
Thanks, man. Let me just double check what the Chargers record is real quick. 5-3.
yeah,
Denver's 5-4.
They're playing well, dude. They're both playing well. Surprisingly, Denver's surprising, completely surprised. Chopping it up about. See, listen, we're trying to be a positive distraction in this world as chaos will ensue. Now the polls are all closed, most of them. So now we're trying to just, keep diversity here, Buffalo Jet fan. But thank you very much, man.
Nothing will stop the pod.
That's right. We're yeah, I'm taking receipts. That's right. I'm holding Ian accountable. Hopefully, you never know. But
I mean, would you disagree with the
completely agree. I completely agree with you. I think the AFC is a mess at the bottom, and there's a lot of things, interesting things can happen. Teams that like Miami losing was big. The Colts losing is big. You're seeing a lot of warts now get exposed, where quarterback play, Bo Nix, Anthony Richardson, Joe Flacco. But I kind of count on Herbert to do well, Burrow to do well. Now maybe Aaron Rodgers can separate himself from that mix, and that's where it comes down to coaching and quarterback. A lot of times we don't really have the coaching. Maybe we have the quarterback to help us out,
Elmo brings up a great point. Yeah, we lost the tiebreaker to Denver. So we have
and Pittsburgh.
Oh God, yeah, dude, that's right. So I know Denver has a couple tough games on the schedule coming up. But I don't know, man. The Jets have basically got to win they got to get 2 games on the Broncos, or really 3 games on the Broncos to get that tiebreaker.
Yep. It's brutal.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you guys for joining us on election night and off a weird win where everybody's either happy or not happy, and trade deadline, all this stuff. So we appreciate the support. Next week, 7 o'clock, will be on Ian's channel, hopefully discussing a win. If it is a loss, batten down the hatches, because I will be even worse than I was last week. I promise you. So any final words for us, Ian?
No, man. Thanks for having me on. We went for, let's see, an hour and 20 minutes. I felt like we covered a lot, man.
Yeah, we did. We tried to mix in positive and negative. It's tough at 3-6, man. So we do our best. Thanks for the support. And good luck with the election tonight. Whoever you voted for, just don't blow up the world when we're done. And we'll talk to you guys next week. I can't believe it was an hour and 20 minutes. Holy shit.
Yeah.